here with Sheila Seppi, and we have been doing this series of interviews with walk-ins to prepare for this upcoming amazing conference called the Walk-In Conference, January 8th and 9th on Portal to Ascension. And Sheila really is the genius behind this conference. Sheila, you want to say anything about that conference that's coming up?
Well, absolutely. I'm very excited. This is our second annual walk-in conference, but it's a lot more than just walk-ins telling their stories. We do want walk-ins to talk about their stories, because the reality of it is I would love nothing better than for walk-ins to become just a common household conversation, because the reality of it is we're no different than other people, other than the frequencies that we hold and we bring to anchor into the planet and the times that we arrive. And we have a plethora of individuals who are going to be sharing their phenomenal experiences about how they arrived on this planet. Alan, can I go ahead and share screen?
Yes. Oh, okay. Let me make you a co-host here.
Go ahead. Yeah, this will be awesome. I want to show everyone, just in case you're not familiar.
Yes, because we want you to be there, because this is cutting edge, I would say, cosmology, like your book says, the cosmology.
Absolutely, it is, because we will be talking about our souls, how our souls arrived, how our souls have been created. We'll be talking about the energy that we have all brought to this planet and how we're anchoring it and what we're actually doing to help shift the consciousness on the planet. You can see we have Nicholas, who was with us earlier today. We have Devi, we have Claire, Karen. We have so many individuals that have already given you an idea about the magic that this conference is going to bring. There's going to be light language. There's going to be activations. There will be so much energy moving on this conference that you really don't want to miss it. It seems like every conference that we do kind of energetically builds upon itself. And after the conference, everybody is talking about it for a week, how they're still energetically drunk from the conference, just because of the activations and all the new information, because everybody comes in bringing a different piece of the pie, a different piece of this earth magic that we all kind of weave together to create the reality.
And I wanted to say that's why this conference is an evolution from last year. That last year was an introduction to people, but this year, and that's why we have people like Devi here, is because it's an activation. This is an initiation of consciousness. So it's not just, oh yeah, great, there's walk-ins. Like, what does this mean? How do we all raise the frequency of the energy of this higher divine consciousness that we're tapping into? And I think that's one of the reasons there are so many people coming in this form, because you didn't have to be born through the birth canal and relearn and do all those things. Right? You come in remembering, and it's like, oh yeah, you can connect quicker to that ultimate source. So yeah, I'm really happy you're here. Your whole name is Samanavasha Gayatri Moksha Devi.
Yes. Yes.
And so much more.
So yeah. Sheila, do you want to introduce a little more, Devi?
Yeah. Devi reached out to me last year through an email, and we became acquainted that way. And I found it very interesting. She was going from location to location, conducting ceremonies, working on the earth grid, working with the Gaia energy, working with all of the goddess energy. And I became extremely intrigued. And then she and a friend of hers came out, Jimmy, and we all had the awesome time of sitting around the kitchen table, getting to know each other, went down to our ceremony site and kind of played down there for just a little bit till the mosquitoes sent us back up to the house. And so, yeah, it was a really good time. And as she began to share with me her story and her beautiful light language, I knew that there was something very special that she was holding, that she had really brought through this high vibratory frequency that really needs to be shared with the planet. And so, Devi, I've invited her to come to the walk-in conference to share this magic. And today she's going to share her story with us and maybe even share a small activation or at least some light language. Huh?
Right. Well, I'm really interested in your story. I couldn't help hearing that this is your 5th time walk-in, and that's always interesting. And there's definitely a story there, and we want to hear it. So go ahead. Tell us the whole story.
Oh, well, the foundation for me is really her ladyship. So we've got the big blue behind me. And it became really clear to me from very, 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 very early on that all of these walk-ins were being engineered in order to serve the highest and best good for the planetary intelligence, for the planetary soul, for the planetary consciousness, and for the planet's destiny. So we've used quantum terminology that references the oversoul. And after my 3rd near-death experience, I was introduced to that term, which speaks of the harmonics or the octaves, like the symphony of our great spirit. And I went, Gaia, now I'm beginning to hear your masterpiece, because she was singing to me this multi-dimensional symphony. And she kept saying, yes, yes, I keep beckoning you back to me, because you and I have this dance, this romance, this love affair. And I went, oh my, this is about me and the sentient biosphere that's hosting the entire species. And I went, ooh la la, this is quite intimate. And so it was really the planet each time that I died that said, oh my love, I need you back. I need you back in the robe that I gifted you with. We need you in this realm to get the job done. And I went, well, how are we going to negotiate that return? And she's like, oh, we'll figure it out. I'll just call on some additional light surgery crews and we'll fix up that body of yours and get you back in a nanosecond. And so I really started to see the awesome, like quantum, multidimensional high magic of the planet, because she resurrected me. No joke, right? Every time I crossed, it was Gaia who's like, come back, my lady. So she's been like that Isis, and I was kind of like her Osiris, and she kept putting me back together. And each time she kept putting my human body back together, more of the mystery of why she needed me here was progressively unveiled, so that my psyche could handle the scope and the scale of this agreement that I made her and with her and to her back at the dawn of her inception. So we look at the lineages of the star nations that have seeded, right, this beloved Gaia Sophia, as John Lash refers to her. And so I made this promise to her soul even before she was born. So then I had to go back and research all of the Gnostic and the Essene and the Vedic mythologies and ancient scrolls and ancient halls of Amenti to unpack or uncover the blueprint of this magnificent being who is the game changer for the entire Milky Way. And so then through progressive, what you would call intergalactic council meetings with each near-death experience, I also got to see from the star ancestors' perspective why she is so relevant to the metamorphosis of the Milky Way.
Well, why? Can you tell?
Yeah, that she's the crown jewel. And when she goes through this awakening process, it's just the ripple effect is going to be and is astounding. It's immeasurable. We'll just put it that way.
Why is she so important, the Earth, in this whole dimensional vortex?
Because of the purity of her benevolent intention to host the free will experiment. So that's why I love John Lash's mythology, where he basically said that Sophia, the mother of the universe, agreed to step down her frequency and become this planetary body as a gift to all of the species that have traveled here to incarnate upon her vessel, mothership, Earth, and give us the opportunity to go on these epic quests, our heroes and sheroes journeys. And she agreed to host all that, and therefore go into her status of sleeping beauty.
Right.
And so I started to see, oh my gosh, the planet is Snow White, the planet is Sleeping Beauty. And when she receives the nashak, as we say in the Gnostic Scrolls, of the kiss of her true beloved, then she will awaken to the goddess that she originally is designed to be by galactic source origins. And then she takes her rightful place as a queen upon the throne of the Milky Way. And when the goddess is in her glory, oh my, every other planetary system is then gushing in that love frequency, that Amrita, that tantric blessing of this massive Kundalini and life force that's just singing right through the omniverse. And so it's a huge contribution to the evolution of consciousness itself on every continuum.
So are you saying that the 50 bridge is the Kundalini of the earth awakening to the divine cosmos, pure love, which let's go of all the lower archonic thought forms that have held us in the old matrix and has kept us from the true divine aspect of our own nature, right?
Yes. And the metaphor that I've always been intrigued with is when I met the sensuality and the sexuality of Gaia's soul. And she said, think of it as this foreplay and this arousal. And so 5D is just a nice little kiss. She has, more octaves in there. And when she goes into her full orgasmic rapture as a planet, she is in 13D, 14D, 15D, and just keep scaling it. She's limitless in her octaves. So I've had council meetings in the 88th dimension and 122nd dimension and 172nd dimension and 188th dimension. And those are all from the future now. So I was like, oh my, they're only talking about 5D and she's talking 221D because there's no time.
Right.
And I was like, lady, you're hot.
Wait, so what are we supposed to do, or what are we here to do to help activate that?
Like I said, I'm a huge fan of the Gnostic Scrolls that we had this brilliant academic, John Lamb Lash, from Metahistory and Nimata, Sophianic schools of healing arts. It's the healing artistry with the soul of this ancient Pachamama and practicing this tantric courtship with her royal body as an empress of extraordinary light intelligence. And so if we are open to the mystery, if we are curious to this mysterious unlocking of her vault or unlocking of her chambers or the quickening of her pulse or the arousal of her heightened state of ecstasy, I basically got hired by the intergalactic royal families to make love to the planet, even though I'm in a female body.
So what exactly do you do? What exactly is your mission? How do you do it, what you're doing?
Well, part of the mission, of course, is education and research. So before I went to Sheila's house in this beautiful mountain range system called the Rocky Mountains, which is the second largest mountain range on the whole planet, mind you, right? The Rocky Mountains goes all the way down to Mexico and all the way up to Canada. I'm studying the geomancy. which is the art and the science of the circuitry of the planet. And Kiara, right, our Vedic star brother, understands the yogic mysteries of those lineages, of those mystery schools. And so I'm like importing yogic research for planetary ecology. So it's like this partnership of these different schools of mastery and applying them in a new unified, cumulative, pioneering, innovative, boldly going where no human has gone before, sacred, humble service to the great unknown. So I do a tremendous amount of research on the regions where I get assigned, their history, their position, quote unquote, on the computer. If you look at the planet as a master grid system, and what it entails in terms of its electromagnetic power chambers. And so I get enough for my intellectual brain to realize, okay, this is a hot spot. And if I'm going to clean up the archonic illegal interference in that area, then those pathways, then those meridians, then those nadi channels in her body can be freed up to run her chi and run her life force again, like she used to, what we would call millions and millions of years ago, before the unauthorized activity, right, of the naughty ETs that attempted to hijack her for their own selfish purposes. And so in some sense, she just went into hiding, right? She put herself into this, how would I say this in English? It's not going to come out in English. She took herself into kind of like a chrysalis, right? She went into like that butterfly cocoon. And it was a protective response, right, to the archonic attempt to rape her without her permission, because they wanted access to that power. So she was like, oh no, boys, no, we're not going down that road. So she put herself into hibernation. There we go. And like a bear, just went into the cave and basically, went into that dormancy state, like a frog that's asleep at the bottom of the pond, so that the naughty ETs wouldn't be able to harvest her for their own polarized agendas. So she's got the juice, she's got, the creme de la creme. And so that's why there was all of these galactic wars attempting to, quote unquote, take without permission, right, this juicy, incredible Shakti. And so John calls it, planetary Shaktiism. And so she's very intelligent. She waited until all of the star seeds and all of the walk-ins and all of the star walkers and all of the galactic ambassadors, we all arrived to this beautiful planet, and then we all stepped in and started giving our gifts and cleaning up the mess. So she's just been waiting for all of us to successfully complete all of our purifications, right, which is the rebalance of power, misuse of magical gifts, and prove that love wins. And she operates on the law of grace, and she knows there is no time, so she's infinitely patient. And she's like, thank you, my ambassadors, for, cleaning up this surface, scuffle, temporary, jockeying for power. And then, once you guys figure that out, then I'm just going to blossom like the lotus flower and the rose that I am. And I'm going to wow everybody into the restoration of quantum embodied magnificence.
So how do you operate with boots on the ground, sort of, to facilitate that?
Well, similar to Sheila, which is why we're such soul sisters, I find that the indigenous people and the First Nations, they've known this all along. So I sought out the different star grandmothers and grandfathers, and I learned from the different First Nations traditions of like, how do you want me to ground the resurrection of this planet, which is a massive galactic love affair into earth and air and fire and water, north and south and east and west. It's through the medicine wheel. You won't get this to ground in the physical plane without these universal principles that White Buffalo Calf Woman, gifted us with, of these essential indigenous basics. And so I combined all of this intergalactic tantra with the basics of the Native American teaching.
Mm-hmm.
And I bowed to, their coaching and their recommendations. So they instructed me, we need you to, do this and this and this and this. And I was, a good, what do you call it, Sheila? There was a good, respectful next generation from my star elders here on the planet.
Right. So for people who are looking to be involved in this resurrection of energy and looking to assist the planet on a very personal way, do you have some recommendations that they can begin at home or that can add to their own practice?
Yes. I am very eclectic. And so I draw from many different, what we would call wisdom traditions. And what I uncovered was that there was a pact that was forged thousands of years ago when technically it was Mu. And the different leaders of all the different lineages basically said, we're going to keep these ancient secrets in safekeeping until humanity has reached a point in their growth and development where they can handle the power of this magic responsibly. And we're going to send this part of the puzzle over here. We're going to send this part of the puzzle over here. And then eventually we're all going to re-find each other again and reforge our cooperatives or restore our
in a medical crisis, minutes.
So basically, I'm an advocate of the soul group, and my first recommendation would be set up a medicine wheel in one of your power spots and ask, who's my council? Who is my core crew that I agreed to bring through this significant transformation with? And, first things first, how do we find each other? Where are we on the planet? And how do we meet each other? And how do we rekindle that friendship? So in all honesty, the walk-in conference next month isn't really about walk-ins. It's about the core council teams finding each other on the planet again. So, whatever that surface title is, that's just, that's whistles and bells. We've got to find each other, reconnect and reestablish these ancient covenants that we forged with each other thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago, and go like, oh, it's you again. Hi, great. Can we just pick up where we left off? It's people power. That's what we got to do.
You go to places and do you work with the energy grids of the place, of certain locations?
Yes, when I'm given the assignment, like I was given the assignment to go to Sheila's part of the planet, not only do we set up medicine wheels in multiple locations, then we start pulsing with the chakras of the planet in the different locations. And then there is ancient shamanic magic that is performed once we have illuminated or turned on, right? Maybe 7 switches in a region. And then I go into massive humility and enter into a surrendered state of the divine child. And I basically say, I will to will, thy will be done as it is in heaven, so it is on earth. Make me a conduit of thy grace, which is very similar to St. Francis's invocation. And once I've set up what you would call the infrastructure, base level of the house, then I tune into my oracular capacity to be the vessel through which the magic then basically flows through me like a waterfall, and miracles are performed on behalf of the planet that are beyond what you would call my normal waking personality. And I intentionally like warm up to that, you know. I do my part and I show up for my pieces of the puzzle that make sense to my human brain. And then I turn it all over to the Great Spirit, right? The source of all that is. And I said, okay, I did my 7 pieces of the puzzle, and now I turn it back over to you, and you instruct me now in the middle of this huge wheel of life that you've had me build in this area. And then I basically into orgasmic states of surrendered nirvanic ecstasy on behalf of the body of nature around me. And if somebody were to tell me logically that I was capable of that before I did my first quest, I would say you were insane. I didn't know what I was actually capable of until I went out there with all bravery, right? And did something radically different and just said, I'm yours. What do you need? So it was
when it's all lined up, the earth energies, you experience the Kundalini through your own body as an activation for the grid points in that area. And then when you say miracles, what kind of miracles actually do people experience?
Well, they tried to test me in terms of, how much frequency I was running through my body at Hummingbird Ranch. And so there was these scientists at Catherine and Makasha's property, and they're like, is this girl for real? Is she like in La La Land? And they're like, all right, so you say that you embody the arc of grace on behalf of the replenishing sustenance to feed the planet with its original light quotient or light fuel or light nourishment. And so we want to see what your body does when you go into that state of surrendered allowance or surrendered humble letting go. And they clocked my body at over 6,000 hertz. And they said, good God, you should be dead. How are you running that magnitude of voltage through your body? That's more frequency than a bolt of lightning. And she's just sitting there, praying to embody the arc of grace. And this is just her warm-up. They're like, okay, she's telling the truth. She's not making this up. And I was like, okay, cool. I didn't know you guys had a device that could measure something like that.
But what do people experience around? What do other people experience then?
They experience an unlocking of their ancient self. They experience an activation of their true, timeless gifts that maybe they've been too scared to access or revisit on their own. So I kind of create a grace pass and just basically say, this is who you truly are. Do you want to bring those skill sets back and reapply them in a new way? So I give them unconditional self-forgiveness so they can see their life through heaven's eyes, and they can see all of those lifetimes together as one cooperative synthesized timeline. And then they'll trust themselves again with those superpowers.
Yeah. One of the things I was going to say too is, I've had medicine wheels at various locations on my property for 20 years. And these medicine wheels are now connected in with a pyramid that is it's in Michigan, Mary Hardy's pyramid, which then of course is connected in with Giza. And so all of the medicine wheels are working synergistically together, and actually within themselves have created this this magical place of healing and awakening, etc. And so one of the things, if people have medicine wheels on your property and you want to connect in with this grid system that we've developed, and Debbie, I think you came and put a couple other little medicine wheels on the property too, didn't you? So we can connect all of these wheels together to create this synergetic pathway on the planet, which is very exciting to me because that helps to restore and to heal the crystalline grid of the planet, which is kind of what I was doing before I was embodied. And so I find it very exciting when there's people who are doing this crystalline grid work that are helping Gaia to wake up, because that means that humanity is reaching this point on the planet that we're able to hold these codes, that we're able to wake up, and that, you know, you don't have to be a walk-in, a starseed, a hybrid, an indigo. You don't have to be an angelic being. You have to just be
willing,
at ease, willing. You have to release and allow the energy of the universe to flow through you, because Gaia is a huge consciousness that has come into this planet. And I think, you know, when I stepped foot on the land that we have in Leadville, there was this kind of like this quickening. And it was amazing to me. And to know that we can send that quickening to other parts of the planet, connect in with other medicine wheels, is very exciting. So if people are interested in doing that, please get a hold of me at sheila@sheilaseppi.com and let me know. And all of this information can be shared among all of these wheels, because they themselves then become this, like this activated conscious being that is of support, that brings energy down, runs it into the earth, brings it back out to humanity, brings the energy down. So there's this synergetic waterfall of energy that's going out to the planet. And I was so excited that you came and did, you know, some additional work on the property, because that just makes everything that much stronger to support our planetary purpose anyway. So thank you for doing that. That was so fun.
You know, you instructed me at night. So I went and hung out with Sheila, right? We had tea, we chatted, we bonded, and you instructed me during the Dream Lodge, right? What would be of most benefit the next day. And so I didn't even dare begin, quote unquote, to offer, you know, any of my abilities until I got the cue from you. So the number one piece of the puzzle here is respect for the stewards and respect for the guardians of these different, you know, regions of, like, they know, right, on the higher levels, what would be of most benefit. And then, you know, those of us that are the traveling ambassadors, when we listen to the primary, right, guardians, then we're all in true harmony and cooperation. It's not appropriate for me just to go in and set up whatever the heck I think is needed.
Right.
You know,
right.
I took the cue. So, you know, like I said, humility is an essential piece of, like, the curiosity of, like, so what would really help? And, like, we have these beautiful recipes, and, you know, maybe I'm bringing the galactic cinnamon, and you tell me where to put the galactic cinnamon in the recipe, right? This love potions, and we're making love potions, Alan, you know.
And so if people want to get a hold of you, can you tell them how to reach out? Because there may be some people listening that would love to have you come and work on their land.
Yes. So I have 3 different branches. One is the Divine Union Foundation, that's .org. Divine Union Academy, that's .com, and speakingtreeoflife.com. And then you'll also find me on Facebook through Divine Union Foundation and Speaking Tree of Life. And so, I'm like the Sherpa, and I will, get on the donkey and go to ridiculous places that I'm called, because I know that it encourages people to be that much more resilient, particularly with, all the hoopla that's going on worldwide, to hold that laser focus on the highest quantum organic timeline of like, we got this. She's already come into her full potential, and that's because we love her so much and she loves us so much. So all this other stuff, that's side commentary. And I'm not limited to medicine wheels in the Celtic shamanism, right? You have the ancient stone circles and ancient sacred feminine traditions. It's called the wheel of life. So if you look at this technology, it has many renderings. So we're not just limited to the indigenous way of viewing that portal called the vortex. Basically, it's the Holy Grail. So I serve the Holy Grail of the planet, and that can be through, hang on, it's not going to be in English. The stargates that we use to steward. And when these stargates are supported to come online with the impeccability of what I call the base 12 physics and science and mathematics, then you can't hijack. Right? They're pure, they're untouchable. And so my only prerequisite is a minimum of a 13th dimension stargate. Otherwise, they can be temporarily, overrided. And that doesn't help in the long run. So the more conferences that we have, like this gathering next month, the more we pull together all of our skill sets and become the quantum dream teams in service to her resurrection. It's us. It's not any single person. It's the collective villages reuniting and reforging our original councils.
Well, can you do that? Can you do that for the conference? Can you do an activation for everyone watching?
Yeah.
Even though it's non-local, we could put together parts of the earth that everyone's watching from in order to be stewards of points of activation that will all come together in this collective consciousness of non-local representation that we're all pulling together. So we'd love for you to do that. Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Now, some of you may refer to it as the Netavendra, right? Some people don't see it in a medicine wheel. Some people see it as the web. And some people go like, oh, you're working with that spider thing, which is the Netavendra. And I'm like, yeah, same thing. Mm-hmm. So I'll use different terminology just so everyone feels included, and so that everyone can pick up on that, reminder. Ding, ding, ding. You too. Come on. Get in here.
So for today, could you give people a really quick taste of activation and languaging that will be used during the conference?
Yeah, I'd love to.
Beautiful.
So you may think I'm funny. I have no shoes on. So kids, when you practice this at home, please take off your shoes. And at some point today, even if it's freezing, go out and touch the planet with your bare feet. And we have chakras on the soles of our feet. And so Sheila and I have been talking about this entire grid system that we've been cultivating with all these other agents around the planet. And when we walk on the earth barefoot, we have direct synaptic, right, connection and pleasurable intimacy with those pathways that are running all kinds of plasma energy. And of course, I use my sexuality to make love to the natural world. So I don't just open my feet chakras, I also open my root chakra. And I'm not like getting all amorous with another person. I'm getting, right, in romance with my love for the beauty of all nature. So summon to yourself the most gorgeous place you've ever been on the planet, where she's just I include Mother, Father, Earth, so it's not just feminine. There's Pachatata down in Peru. Where has the planet awed you? Where has, nature's wonders taken your breath away? And go there. It could have been this epic waterfall in Africa, or this meadow in the Alpine Swiss, or a beach in Bermuda, or even the creek that's just behind your house, where you felt totally safe and completely like a child. And then feel this gift of your sacred sexuality given to you by what I call Mother, Father, Source. And I'm going to apologize for your body if you were never taught that your sacred sexuality is a gift to also connect with the planet, not just another person. This is what we used to teach kids when they were 5 years old, that this sexual power that we have is also like a shamanic ability. And so in this root chakra arousal, right, send that energy down your legs, down your right leg, down your left leg, out the soles of your feet, and into these spinning chakras about 3 feet down underneath where your soles touch and hit the planet. And ask permission to attune to the goddess that she is. We call her Gaia Sophia, sometimes Green Woman, Pachamama, and she has a lover, which was called the Green Man or King of the Earth. And we just had, right, our winter holidays. And so there's the King and Queen of Winter. And there is also this ancient love affair between Mother, Father, Earth that we honor around the solstices and the equinoxes and the other festive celebrations of light around the planet. There's lovers or beloveds within the body of the natural world, and they are as much a part of our divine parents in the biosphere as the Mother, Father, source code that birthed us into existence. So it's the divinity of this tantric soul of the planet that is reverberating through all of these grid systems. It's their divine dance. There's these twin lovers. Other people have seen it as the Maha Tantra between Mother Earth and Father Sky. However you relate to it, it's the same principle. And feel that as these rays from the sun, from the great central sun, travel through our bodies, our root chakras open, our legs pulsing with the planet, our feet chakras spinning, spiraling with this lattice of light, this web of life underneath us. Let's all give ourselves permission to receive kind of a Christmas gift from the planet itself. And as much as we give our gratitude to her, to Mother, Father, Earth, there's also a gift for us to receive. Technically, today's the, fourth day of Christmas? And that Christmas tree is the tree of life, the original tree of life within the body of the planet. 12 spheres, pulsing and spinning and spiraling underneath us. And that gift is the universal truth of your soul. Who better than the whole planet to know who you truly are? Who better than the sentient intelligence of the whole planet who's walked with you every single lifetime, knows every single one of your strengths and also every single one of your weaknesses, and loves us, loves you, loves me unconditionally. What this planet offers us is unconditional self-love. To pariento fe ki acompanas. This language that I speak is the speaking tree of life for Gaia. I'm not speaking to you as a woman anymore. Speaking to you as Gaia tree. Do parti compandana is que Gaia's tree of life. Tovalito patatanas. So from your feet, from your roots, start pulling up what we call the original tree of love, the original tree of grace. Kobarlaito nanai ke. Dovatish patotar katenia. And it's a frequency of respect for the entirety of your soul's journey. It's like the ultimate life review. Every moment has been captured by the Akash of this beloved planetary sentience. So if there's any part of you that you've ever felt that got left out somehow, she knows exactly where that quadrant is inside of your psyche. We call it quantum soul retrieval. And mom is just basically saying, come back home to yourself. So if any of your divine pieces and parts got lost in any lifetime, past, present, future, she holds the master code of how to bring it all back home to union. How? Because she loves us unconditionally. That unconditional love gives you a safety in your subconscious and unconscious body mind to now weave back in any and all these what we would call divine soul fragments of your diamond body. Weaving back these facets, these fractals of your light body restoring itself in your human body temple. Because we've had a lot of spiritual persecution down here, a lot of us that are starborns and star seeds, the first time we came, we weren't exactly well received. And that's just because our souls are very advanced and the regular inhabitants, weren't quite prepared for the help. So, first contact was a little messy. It was just growing pains. We're just, working out slightly different cultural, right, frameworks. So now we're all preparing for first contact in a pristine, miraculous compendium, where the arrival is going to flow splendidly this time. And is going to be gloriously received. Because we take the lead from the signals of the planet. And the planet tells us how to implement first contact. In a manner that won't necessarily overwhelm, right? The current frequency of the general populace. So through planetary tantra, then we get taught how to be effective in implementing first contact. Because this is the way we've successfully navigated it with every other planetary system that we've already brought into their ascended fruition. So I deeply apologize if any of you got bopped out of your body unexpectedly. We assure you it wasn't your fault. And here we are, returned, wiser, and also evolved as a result of our initiations and our rites of passage. So now feel the promise that the planet has made every single one of us as starborns, star seeds. This is it. This is where we get to all give our gifts and it comes together in a way that is so magical and so potent and so beautiful and so glorious that we all just weep tears of joy. We have a masterpiece to deliver to this awakening human divine race. They're birthing into Homo spiritus, sapien divinus, Homo noetica, Golaito facantanas. Each and every one of us is a particular midwife for this successful shift of all the ages. It's going to take every ambassador, all hands on deck, and together we pull this off. And the human race is just in awe. Because the gift that we give them is the realization that we are not alone. They have not been abandoned by prime source origins. I deeply apologize for the erroneous illusion that the archons created by the temporary veils. So we are loved far beyond our human comprehension. The technology scheduled to help us rectify the imbalances on this planet are extraordinary and astounding. So all that's required is for us to believe again in magic, believe again in miracles, and we can receive assistance beyond our wildest dreams. So let that medicine of this truth filter up through your legs, enter into your root chakra, and then start spiraling and traveling up through your belly, through your hips, through that navel point, and through all of your human organs and blood and bones and muscles. This promise is fulfilled because we are finding each other. We're honoring our original agreements with and to each other and to this planet. We are successful. So we're giving ourselves the gratitude for a job well done, because there is no time. Pulling the memory of our success and our victory in from the future now, and letting that run and circulate through all of our cell structures, through all of our atoms, through all of our molecules. We've done it. The great graduation is already successfully completed. And we're all just so overjoyed because we got to see each other shine in our highest expression. Called the return of the way of counsel. So receive this re-encodement of this remembrance, or we're already celebrating the fruits of every lifetime. The synthesized into the crescendo of our Dovalatia Scotia collective planetary graduation.
Wow.
All the
Thank
way
you.
up to the crown, back of the head, down the arms, down the fingers. Dovaletita ta 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 ta. And it'll probably rock and roll through your system through, 28 to 40 days.
Great. How long have you been doing this work for?
About 15 years, and I never know what's going to come out of my mouth. So you two called that out of me. That's not something I've ever done before. It was a direct response to your invitation, and thank you.
Well, we're going to have a lot of high energy people there at the walk-in conference, so it'll probably be even more full on when you do it at the conference, right, Sheila?
I am
Yes.
sure it will.
Because
I
we're
love what you
co-creating
said.
it.
Yeah, because it's a galactic calling to bring everyone together. That's very beautiful. Yeah, can't wait.
Yeah.
So thank you both for the impeccable, right, messengers that you are, the phenomenal like positions, right, that you are cultivating in the greater garden. Because us and the next generation, we follow your example for sure.
Well, thank you. And also you can tell a little bit of your story at the conference, like how you discovered who and what and why you are and all that. So great.
Bring
There's
you with coming attractions.
yeah, exactly.
That's a little flavor today.
Yes, that's all we wanted was a taste so they could come back for the whole meal. Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes. And this is Deva Grace or Grace Deva or Moksha is also a good name, Gayatri Moksha. And yeah, definitely maybe we'll all meet up in Colorado at some point too.
Yes,
So
please. I've seen that.
Mm-hmm. And have you met John Lash? Have you studied with him directly?
Only through email correspondence, because
Oh.
he loves his independence.
Right. I've met him once, and his books are very important and influential. So definitely
Huge.
yes.
He's got quite the erudite consciousness, and he has been the translator, for Vajra Vilasi, and I'm forever grateful to him for it. Because, I'm a planetary Dakini, and he translated what that means. So, go check out John Lamb Lash if you want to learn more about what we just did today together.
Right. Not in His Name is one of his books that I read, about the archonic takeover of consciousness, which is what we're really trying to free ourselves from. So,
well, let's take out the TRY. We are.
We are
successfully putting them in their place. I'm like, oh.
Well, it's a process, isn't it? We're in the process. So thank you. Sheila, anything else that we should mention?
Just super excited. If people enjoyed today, they definitely want to check out the conference. You can go to portaltoascension.com. And through the holiday season, we are giving the gift of 25% off. So please use the code PTA25 and join us. We really want anyone to be there who wants to be there. And so it's very important to us to gather as many people, to call in as many people as we possibly can, because we are at a critical juncture on this planet. And it's important that we all connect with each other.
Right. And tell friends about this, because there really isn't another conference like this. And it really has to start. It started with Sheila's book, Walk-ins Cosmology of the Soul. And Devi, have you heard Sheila's story of her walk-ins?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. And really what I'm imagining from our broadcast today and feeling from our broadcast today is that we're also attracting in the benefactors, the patrons, the sponsors, so that if somebody's hearing this broadcast and they are deeply touched and moved, we gratefully receive your gift so that we can also give that gift to other attendees, maybe in other countries, right, that don't have regular American currency cash flow right now. Right. So I just call it the sacred commerce circuitry, and people are like, whoa, you guys are really, honoring your word, which we are. And then I remember the Great Renaissance. So this conference is a part of that new Renaissance. And we know that every cultural Renaissance has its donors. And so, Wish Alliance can also receive the influx of that gratitude. And then that can make, attendees in Nigeria possible, or Siberia, or, Zimbabwe.
Right.
Beautiful.
Yeah, the outreach.
Support Sheila's organization, the Wish Alliance, Walk-ins, Indigos, Starseeds, Hybrids. It is really the cutting edge of consciousness. And there's so much more coming. This is a kind of a foundational activation point for what's going to be coming in the next decade or more as we move into first contact consciousness. It's not just about contact, it's the shape of consciousness. It's the change of perception that we need to go into when these next levels of awakening arise, because it doesn't happen at the old levels. You will not see the new world from the old eyes. It is new, and unknown and very exciting and full of.
Yes. And Alan, because you're in New York, you're gonna giggle. It's like this character from A Christmas Carol, Edward, Scrooge. He didn't even know that the ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future existed. He had this transformational experience with the great unknown, right? The supernatural.
Right.
And so, even somebody on Fifth Avenue in New York can find out about this conference and be very, very curious of like, what the heck are they talking about? And yet they have this visitation from this angel in the dream watch that keeps telling them, you got to go to this conference. And their human brains are like, but I don't understand. And it's like, the dream keeps telling them, just go, get over. You don't need to understand, just show up.
Right. Yes.
So you don't need to have familiarity with these terms in order to come play with us. That's what that's saying.
Beautiful.
Right. Thank you. Sheila, any last words for today's broadcast?
I think that was very well said. I want to always thank you, Alan, for making this possible, for allowing us to have a platform that, we can let people know what it is that we're doing, because it is so important. And, you have been the forerunner before consciousness was cool. There was Alan. You were breaking new
cool to
paths.
me.
It was always cool to you, but it wasn't always cool. Look at the times and everything. But I'm always grateful to you and grateful for your support with the Wish Alliance, because the Wish Alliance means so much to so many people, and they have finally found home. They finally found their community, the language that they've been looking for. And so it's kind of a coming home organization. And so thank you for helping us to make that possible. And thank you so much for being here again. So nice to see you. It'll be fun to play on the land again.
Soon.
So Thanks so much.
Yes. If you're in Sedona, let me know. We'll be there.
Oh, awesome.
Oh, and one last thing. Again, if people are interested in, if you have a medicine wheel, if you want to make a medicine wheel, if you have pyramids on your property, whatever, I'm always encouraging people to link up so we can link that energy together, because we are so much stronger that way. If you're interested, you can let me know at info@wishalliance.org or sheila@sheilaseppi.com. I would be more than happy to talk with you, and let's get all this energy flowing up and in and out to the universe. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you both. Thank you for your time and what's going to be coming up. January 8th and 9th, Portal to Ascension. Then the walk-in conference. And Sheila Seppi, thank you for your kind of selfless input into consciousness raising on the planet. It's just like, you're just doing it. You're just, because that's what has to be done. So thank you. Okay, thank you everyone. Alan Steinfeld for New Realities, along with Devi Grace, Sheila Seppi, and New